Hello everyone. Now let us go to the third video of the first module. Hope you have gone through the previous two videos that I have sent you so far, and I hope there is no further doubts in those two videos. So now let us look on to the next topic. So actually those topics that we have studied so far in the previous videos and all were the basic concepts that we require, that we need to be aware on before going on to the deeper side of cryptography. Okay, so actually those topics were not prescribed in the syllabus, but the thing is that in order to go into the deeper side of the cryptographic schemes and all, we need to be aware on some basic concepts regarding security that we have studied so far. So from this video onwards, we are going on to the topics which are related to the syllabus of your subject. Okay, so first of all itself, we are going to study various terms, okay, various important terms and its corresponding definitions, because these terms and definitions need to be aware, then only we can study the main concepts of cryptography. Okay, so first of all itself, I will tell you what is actually cryptography. So the thing that I have told you so far is that we need to ensure the security of the data before getting transmitted through the network. Okay, so actually whatever message which is created by the originator of the message, which is the sender itself, okay, if he finds that the message requires high confidentiality or high privacy, then at that particular spot itself, he will be seeking for certain security mechanisms in order to ensure the security of the message whatever he has created before sending it through the network. Okay, if he feels that whatever message he has created should be viewed only by the receiver, nobody other than the receiver has to view the message. If he is having a feeling like that, and if he finds that the message whatever he has created or whatever he has written requires high confidentiality or high privacy, then at that particular stage itself, he will be opting some security mechanism, okay, in order to ensure the security of the data before getting that data transmitted through the network, because there is a chance of getting attacked, there is a chance that that particular data gets attacked while it is getting transmitted through the network. Okay, the data is safe when it is in the hands of the sender as well as in the hands of the receiver, but the thing is that when it is getting transmitted through the network, at that particular time the attacker can easily attack or can easily get access to that particular message. Okay, so the thing is that before getting transmitted through the network, the message has to be kept secure, has to be adopted certain security mechanisms so as to ensure security of that data. Okay, so the thing is that whatever content is written in that particular message, okay, if it is written in that particular form itself, it will be easily understandable by anyone who is actually viewing that message. So such type of data is actually called as intelligible data. Okay, so data which can be easily understood. Okay, if it is viewed by a particular person, then it is called as intelligible data. Okay, we can easily understand whatever is written in that particular message. Okay, so that type of data is called as intelligible data. Okay, so we have to convert such form of intelligible data into unintelligible one, that is we have to convert the understandable form of data into ununderstandable form, so that even if the message is being attacked by someone whoever is standing outside, okay, they won't be easily able to understand, otherwise they won't be easily able to grasp what is the actual content which is written in the message. Okay, so that is the main motivation why we opt for cryptography. Okay, so what we are going to do in cryptography is whatever message which is written by the sender, okay, since it is in an understandable format, since it is easily understood by everyone, okay, you have to convert it into an ununderstandable form, so that even if that particular message is attacked by a person who is standing outside, okay, he won't be able to understand it easily. Okay, so intelligible data has to be converted into an unintelligible form with the help of the process of encryption. Okay, we are going to encrypt our message. Encryption of the message means we are going to convert the intelligible data, that is the original message, what is the message which is created by the sender of the message. Okay, that message, since it is easily understood by everyone, we are going to convert it into unintelligible form, okay, or non understandable form, so that it won't be easily attacked by any person. Okay, that particular process of converting an unintelligible data, an intelligible data into unintelligible data is called as encryption. Okay, So thing is that we need to study some basic terms which is used in cryptography. That is, in terms of cryptography, we will be terming, or otherwise we will be defining such form of intelligible data in terms of plain text. That is, whatever is the message which is created by the sender, okay, that message requires high confidentiality. Okay, such type of message which is actually in intelligible form is called as a plain text. That is, the message which is originally created by the sender is called as a plain text. So now onwards, in terms of cryptography, we will be naming such form of messages which is actually created by the sender as plain text. Okay, so what is plain text? Plain text is the original message which is created by the sender and which we find that which requires high security or privacy, and with, for that particular purpose we will be adopting some security mechanism before getting transmitted through the network. Okay, so the plain text is the original message whatever is created by the sender. Such form of plain text, since it is easily understood or since it is easily recognized by anyone whoever reads it, has to be converted into some other form which is not easily understood or which is not easily recognized by anyone who is going to read it. Okay, such form of data which is not easily understood or which is unintelligible data, then it is called as ciphertext. So what is actually ciphertext? Ciphertext is a data, okay, which has been generated after performing encryption. Okay, encryption of what? After performing encryption of a plain text. Okay, plain text is the original message. That original message needs to be converted into the ciphertext. So the ciphertext is actually the encrypted form of plain text, and once a particular person sees the ciphertext, he won't be able to recognize what is actual content which is written in the that particular message. Okay, in that particular form only the ciphertext contents will be written. Okay, so ciphertext is a message which has been generated after encrypting the plain text. It is an ununderstandable format, or it is also called as an unintelligible data, because the people or person whoever is going to read the contents of the ciphertext won't be easily able to recognize what is actually written in it. Okay, so such type of ciphertext, if it is sent through the network, even if the person or an attacker tries to gain access of the ciphertext, he won't be able to recognize the contents which is written in that ciphertext. Okay, so actually this ciphertext will be transmitted through the network. Okay, so as soon as it reaches in the receiver side, the ciphertext will be reached in the receiver side. Okay, the receiver also won't be able to recognize what is actually written in that message. Okay, so he have to do the reverse procedure as that done in the sender side. That is, encryption was carried out in the sender side to convert the plain text into ciphertext, and just the reverse operation has to be carried out in the receiver side. That is, the ciphertext has to be converted back to plain text, and only the plain text, from that plain text, that corresponding receiver will be able to read out or otherwise view what is the content of the message whatever was sent by the sender. Okay, so in the receiver side, the reverse operation of encryption has to be carried out, that is, decryption has to be performed to convert the ciphertext back to the plain text. Okay, so the ciphertext was an unintelligible form of data which cannot be easily recognized whatever is written in that ciphertext. So in order for the receiver to understand what is actually written in the message, he has to decrypt the message back to the plain text. Okay, so once he is able to recognize what is actually written in that particular plain text, okay, in that particular message, then he can do the further procedures accordingly. Okay, so this is the actual operation which is carried out in cryptography, and hence we can say that cryptography is the art or science of dealing with encryption and decryption. That is, we need to ensure the security of your data. Okay, and you know that the basic concept is that if you are going to send your data in its original form through the network, there is a chance that any attacker, if they finds the original message, that can easily understand what is the actual content which is written in the message. So the only thing you can do is that you are going to convert the original content of the message or the original message itself into some other form, so that either if they are going to, any attacker is going to attack or gain access to this particular message, they won't be easily able to read the content of that message. So hence we are going for encryption. What is encryption? The original message, which is called as plain text, is getting converted into ciphertext. Ciphertext means an unintelligible data into a form which is not easily understood by any person who is going to gain access of that ciphertext. Okay, they won't be able to understand what is actually written in that particular ciphertext. Okay, so the process of converting plain text into ciphertext is called as encryption, which is carried out in the sender side. So this ciphertext will be transmitted through the network, and once it is received in the receiver side, the reverse operation as that of encryption has to be performed, that is called as decryption. That is, the ciphertext has to be reconverted back to the plain text. So only the receiver will be able to read the messages in its normal form. Okay. So the process, the combined process of encryption and decryption, that is the art or science of dealing with the security of your data with the help of the combined operations of encryption and decryption is called as cryptography. Okay. Not only encryption you have to focus on, and not only decryption you have to focus on. If you are doing encryption at the sender side, then it is completely necessary that the reverse operation of encryption, that is decryption, has to be performed in the receiver side. Then only the original message, whatever is written by the sender, will be easily viewed by the receiver. The encryption process is also called as enciphering or otherwise encoding, and on the other hand, the decryption process is also called as decoding or deciphering. Okay. So actually the science or art of dealing with the security of the data with the combined effort of encryption or enciphering or encoding together with decryption or deciphering or decoding is called as cryptography. That is, we need to keep our data secured, okay, while it is getting transmitted through the network. Okay, and hence we are doing the security operations with the combined effort of encryption and decryption. That is what is dealing with cryptography. Okay, so thing is that in order to perform cryptography, we need this support of some algorithms or some mechanisms. Okay, certain algorithms has to be adopted in order to ensure the security of the data, and such an algorithm or such a mechanism, whatever we are going to employ in order to make our data secure or in order to implement cryptography is called as cipher. Okay, so cipher is an algorithm which helps you to ensure the security of your data based on the concept of cryptography. Okay, so the thing is that such kinds of algorithms can either be in two forms. Okay, there are two categories of techniques which comes under the cipher algorithms or the ciphers. Okay, so they are either substitution techniques or transposition techniques. These two techniques will be studied in detail in the coming videos and all, but simply you have to understand that you can do or you can apply or implement such ciphering algorithms in order to make your data secure, either by using or adopting substitution techniques or otherwise adopting transposition techniques. Okay, substitution techniques means whatever letters is written in your plain text. Okay, actually I told you that the original message is called as a plain text. That message has to be secured from the attacker. Okay, that contents of the message has to be secured from the attacker. So if it is sent in its original form, then easily the attacker will be able to view that message. So thing is that we are going to convert that particular original message that is called as a plain text into the cipher text, into an ununderstandable form. Okay, so thing is that if each and every letters of that corresponding plain text message is simply substituted with some other letters. Okay, if you are able to substitute each and every letter of the plain text message with some other letters, then it is called a substitution technique. On the other hand, if the letters whatever is present in a particular plain text message is simply misplaced in terms of its position, that is, if you are simply changing the position of each and every letter of your plain text, then it is called as transposition technique. Okay, so these are the two techniques which is coming under the cipher or the algorithm, whatever you are going to adopt in order to perform this cryptographic techniques. Okay, so the details of these two techniques will be studied later. Okay. Next one is what is a key. Okay, key is actual secret information that you are going to adopt in order to perform the encryption and decryption process. So earlier itself I told you that in the sender side you need to convert your plain text into cipher text in order to ensure the security of your data. That is, you want to convert your original data into some form which is not easily understood by anyone. Okay, so thing is that encryption has to be performed. So you have to understand one thing, that encryption is carried out with the help of a key. For example, if you want to make your house completely secure, if you are going to leave from the house, okay, if you are going to leave from your house, okay, you will be ensuring the security of your house by simply locking the door. Okay, so thing is that you are locking the door with the help of a key. Okay, and that same key can be used in order to unlock your door and to enter into your house. Okay, so thing is that in order to make your data secure, here encryption is carried out by the sender. Okay, so in this encryption is carried out with the help of a key. And in the receiver side, the reverse operation is carried out, that is with the help of the same key or otherwise with the help of some other keys. You will be the receiver will be unlocking the message, okay, in order to read the original content. So key is actual secret information whatever is useful for you in order to encrypt or decrypt the message. Okay, so you can use the same key or different key based on several techniques that we will be studying later, but the thing is that the secret information which is called as a key is helpful for you in order to encrypt your message which is carried out in the sender side, and on the other hand in order to decrypt the message or unlock your message in the receiver side. Okay, so encryption and decryption can be carried out only if the sender and receiver is aware on what is the key or what is the secret information that is actually required in order to make your data secure. Okay, so thing is that this key is quite helpful for you, or otherwise it is quite essential for you in order to encrypt the message as well as decrypt the message. The thing is that if the information regarding this key is made to known for someone other than the sender and the receiver, then that particular person can easily gain access of the message. For example, if you are locking the door of your house to ensure the security of your house, okay, if by mistake that particular key is lost, okay, and it is obtained by someone else other than you, okay, then easily with the help of that particular key, that person can unlock your house and enter into your house. Okay, so thing is that if that particular key is missed or lost by you, then easily whoever is gaining access of that key can easily enter your house, that is going to affect the security of your house. The same thing is happening out here. Okay, the key is a secret information whatever is going to protect your data. So the information regarding this key which is considered as the secret information, so the information regarding this key need to be aware only for the sender and the receiver. Okay, no other person has to gain, otherwise must know the details of this key. So the key is quite important in order to ensure the security of your data. So encryption and decryption can be carried out or otherwise can be specified with the help of these denotations and all. Okay, suppose if you are considering X, the simple X as a plain text, the letter Y is the ciphertext and K is the key. I told you with the help of a key only you can do the encryption process, and in the receiver side also you need a key in order to do the decryption process. Okay, so suppose you if in the encryption process you are going to convert the plain text into ciphertext only with the help of a key, then we can denote the process of encryption in this particular form, that is Y is equal to E of K comma X, that is you can get the ciphertext simply by encrypting the plain text with the help of a key. X is called as a plain text, K is a key. So you are going to do encryption for the plain text X with the help of the key K in order to get the ciphertext Y. And on the receiver side you are going to do the reverse operation, that is decryption, that is in order to obtain the plain text by the receiver, he has to do the decryption operation. Okay, and the decryption operation has to be performed to the ciphertext because the receiver is getting the ciphertext in its hand. Okay, so he has to do the decryption process into the ciphertext with the help of the key. Okay, so that is what is just specified in these two denotations. Okay, hope it is clear for you. So next definitions that we have to be aware on is what is cryptanalysis. Okay, so I told you what is cryptography. Cryptography is the art or science of dealing with what all things you have to perform in order to ensure the security of the data, and that too with the combined effort of both encryption and decryption. Okay, so the thing is that in order to perform encryption and decryption you have to be completely aware on what is the secret information or what is the key which are used by the sender and the receiver in order to encrypt and decrypt the message. Okay, so the cryptanalysis is a negative impact or negative aspect of cryptography, that is if you are trying to encrypt if you are trying to recover the plain text from the ciphertext without the knowledge of the key, then it is called as cryptanalysis. That is, if an attacker is waiting outside the network, simply waiting for some sort of messages to read its contents, okay, naturally he will be aware on what is the ciphertext which has been transmitted through the network from the sender side to the receiver side. Okay, so from this corresponding ciphertext, whatever is getting transmitted through the network, if he tries to retrieve the plain text, the corresponding plain text without the knowledge of any key, he is not having any knowledge of key because he is neither the sender nor the receiver. Okay, so without any knowledge of the key, if he is trying to retrieve the plain text from this corresponding ciphertext, then it is actually a negative aspect and it is called as cryptanalysis. So, actually it is a form of attack. So, cryptanalysis is actually a form of attack, but simply it deals with the process of extracting the plain text from the corresponding ciphertext whatever is getting transmitted through the network, but without the knowledge of the key. Okay, so that is cryptanalysis. And the next definition is a combined process of cryptography and cryptanalysis, which is called as cryptology. Okay, that is cryptology mainly deals with both the positive and negative aspect, that is whatever is carried out in cryptography and whatever is carried out in cryptanalysis. So, complete awareness on what is actually happening within the security network is called as cryptology. Okay, so hope these definitions are clear for you. Throughout we are going to deal with all these terms and all in order to go into the detailed side of this cryptography. Okay. So, from now onwards we will be using the terms plain text in order to represent the original message whatever is created by the sender, and we will be using the term ciphertext in order to represent the that corresponding unintelligible or ununderstandable form of data, okay, whatever is received by the receiver and all, and also we will be dealing with some aspects of cryptanalysis and all. Okay. So, next we have to deal with the various forms of classification of cryptography, how you can classify cryptographic techniques. Okay. What are the various ways in which you can classify, okay, or in what all various ways you can categorize the cryptographic techniques. Okay. So, like all other classification methods, you can classify cryptography also based on several factors. Okay, not only one single form of classification is there. Okay, based on several factors. Actually, there are three ways in which you can classify cryptography based on three different factors, and each factors and the corresponding classifications are given in this particular figure. Okay, so thing is that we can classify the cryptographic technique in terms of three forms or three ways based on three different factors. The first important factor in which you can classify cryptographic technique is based on type of operation. That is what type of operation you are going to perform. Based on that you can classify the cryptographic technique. The second way in which you can classify the cryptographic technique is the number of keys which are used in your method. Okay, the number of keys which are used in your method also you can categorize the cryptographic methods. So, I told you what is the relevance of a key in doing the encryption and decryption process or in order to perform the cryptographic mechanism. Okay, the third factor based on which you can categorize cryptographic method is based on the processing of your of your data. Okay, how you're going to process your plain text. Okay, in that particular form also you can categorize your cryptographic method. So, these are the three ways in which you can categorize your cryptographic method based on the type of operations performed, based on the number of keys used, and also based on the processing of your plain text. Okay. So, the first form is based on the type of operations performed, that is what you are doing actually within the cryptographic method. Either you can adopt a substitution method or transposition method. Actually, I have told you earlier itself. Okay, you can either opt for the substitution method, that is you can either offer substitution type of operation or otherwise the transposition type of operation. That means in case of substitution option or substitution method of cryptography, you will be substituting simply all those letters whatever is present in the plain text simply by some other letters. Okay, and in the case of transposition method, you will be simply misplacing the positions of each and every letter whatever is written in the plain text. Okay, and that is carried out in transposition. Okay, so the details of each and every method, that is we will be studying various types of transposition methods and some types of transposition methods detailed in the coming videos and all. Okay, so just be aware we can categorize cryptographic methods based on the type of operations into substitution method and transposition method. And the second way in which you can categorize your this cryptographic method is based on the number of keys used. Okay, you can use any number of keys. Okay, as you use more and more number of keys or more sized key, okay, as the size of your key is going on increasing, your data will be more and more secure. Okay, so as you are going to decrease or decline the number of keys used, the security will be in turn declining. Okay, so the thing is that if you are going to use more and more number of keys, you will be able to ensure the security to a very far extent possible. So, thing is that there are two types of cryptographic technique. If you are going to classify your cryptographic technique based on the number of keys used, they are symmetric and asymmetric. That is, if you are using the same key both in the encryption and decryption side, then it is called a symmetric cryptographic system. Okay, if you are using the same key, that is what is called a symmetric. If you are using the same key, a single key is used, only one and one only key is used in the sender side as well as in the receiver side in order to perform the encryption and decryption, then it is called a symmetric cryptographic technique. And on the other hand, if a different key, that is the sender will be using a particular key in order to encrypt the message, and on the other hand the receiver will be using a different key in order to decrypt the message. But the thing is that the sender's key and the receiver's key are created in pair. Okay, that is whatever key is used by the sender to encrypt the message, and whatever key is used by the receiver to decrypt the message will be created in pair. So easily the receiver will be able to decrypt the message with the help of the second key. Okay, in that particular manner the key will be created by the server. Okay, so thing is that if different keys are used by the sender and the receiver to do the encryption and decryption process, then it is called as asymmetric form of cryptographic technique. So in this particular aspect, we are defining the keys which are used in the encryption and decryption operation, and we can classify this particular cryptographic method into symmetric and asymmetric. Hope you have understood. The third way in which you can categorize a cryptographic method is based on how you are going to process your plain text, how you are going to process or how you are going to consider the plain text message. It can be classified into stream cipher and block cipher. That means I told you your plain text message will be consisting of a definite or specific number of letters. For example, I am writing a message, tomorrow there is class. So definitely my message is consisting of a different number of elements. Tomorrow there is class. T, O, M, O, R, R, O, W, etc. are all the letters of the plain text. So whatever letters are there in your plain text, if each and every letter is considered one by one, okay, that is whatever letters are there in your plain text, if each and every letter is considered one by one individually, then it is called as stream cipher. Okay, that is each and every letter of your plain text will be encrypted one by one. Okay, that is if tomorrow there is class is a plain text, whatever is written by me, that is let me consider that I am the sender of the message. I'm going to send this message to you. Okay, so if I'm going to send the message tomorrow there is class, okay, each and every letter will be taken individually. That is the first letter is T, the letter T will be taken individually. Okay, then it will be undergone encryption process and then it will be received by you. Next, the letter O will be taken tomorrow. The second letter is O. Okay, the second letter O will be taken. It will be encrypted and will be sent through the network to be received by you. Likewise, each and every letter will be considered individually and will be undergone encryption process so as to be transmitted through the network to receive in the receiver side. So that type of cryptographic method is called as stream cipher. The second category of this cryptographic method based on the processing of plain text is block cipher. That is, we are going to consider the plain text message in terms of various blocks with a specific number of elements. That is, I am simply considering that I am going to encrypt my message in terms of various blocks. So the thing is that first of all itself, in the initial stage of encryption process itself, I had to decide what must be the size of the blocks. Okay, you have to have a unique size in each and every block. So if I'm considering that, let my block consist of 4 letters and all. So if the real message whatever is written by me is tomorrow there is class, okay, and I am considering that I am going to adopt block cipher mode of operation, okay, then I have to split my entire message in terms of various blocks in which each and every block consists of 4 letters. That is, first block consists of T, O, M, O. The second block consists of R, R, O, W. Then third block T, H, E, R. Then fourth block ISAC, class, the first letter in class. Likewise, each and every block consists of 4 letters. If I am considering that particular way, then what all letters are there in my plain text, it will be simply categorized or it will be simply defined in terms of various blocks with definite number of elements. That is, each and every block will be having a unique set of elements. Okay, so initial stage itself you have to decide what must be the number of elements in each and every block. Okay, likewise, so what will happen is that each and every block will be undergoing encryption. That is, the first block which consists of TOMO will be as a block will be undergoing encryption, and then that particular block of 4 letters will be converted into corresponding ciphertext so as to reach in the receiver side. Then the second block will be coming with the remaining 4 elements or 4 letters. They will be together combining or doing the corresponding encryption process, and then they will be converted to the corresponding ciphertext so as to reach the receiver side. Likewise, each and every blocker as a whole, that means with a definite or specific number of letters, will be undergoing the encryption process so as to travel to the network to reach the receiver side. So the one thing is you have to notice that whatever is carried out in the sender side, this reverse operation has to be performed in the receiver side, okay, in order to retrieve back the plain text by the receiver. Okay, so these are the various ways in which you can define, or otherwise you can explain or categorize the cryptographic methods. I hope it is clear for you. So the next thing you have to study is cryptanalysis. Actually, I told you cryptography is always focusing on a positive side of securing your data. That is, you are aware on the information or details of the key, whatever is required in order to encrypt and decrypt the message. But the thing is that in case of cryptanalysis, they are focusing on negative aspect of cryptography. That is, without the knowledge of any key, you're going to try to extract the plain text from the available ciphertext. Okay, so that is actually what is happening in cryptanalysis. Okay, and here also we have to categorize the various types of cryptanalysis. That is, an attacker can easily attack or otherwise easily retrieve the plain text from the corresponding ciphertext without the knowledge of any key, and that also we can categorize into various forms. Okay, and the various types in which you can categorize the cryptanalysis attack is ciphertext only method, non-plain text method, chosen plain text method, and chosen ciphertext method. Other than these 4 methods, there is brute force attack also. Okay, so let us look on to the first 4 methods or first 4 forms of attacks. Okay, or first 4 forms of cryptanalytic attacks. Okay, so cryptanalysis it is actually the process of an attacker trying to extract a plain text from the ciphertext without the knowledge of any key. Okay, then what is cryptanalytic attack? A particular person who is trying to focus on this particular thing of extracting this plain text from the corresponding ciphertext which was made available through the network without the information of any key. Okay, so let us look on to each and every attack in detail. First one is ciphertext only attack. So the thing here, what is happening is, okay, as the name implies itself, the attacker will be simply waiting outside the network. So I told you the attacker, whoever it is, won't be able to retrieve the message or the original content or the plain text from the sender side or the receiver side. Only he can gain the access of such messages. Okay, anything regarding that message can be obtained only when it is getting transmitted through the network. So naturally the attacker will be simply waiting outside the network to gain access of such type of data. Okay, so the ciphertext only attacks means simply when the ciphertext is getting transmitted from the sender side to the receiver side, the corresponding attacker will try to gain access from this ciphertext. He will be simply making certain assumptions or doing certain operations in order to gain the plain text. The thing is that he is not having any idea on what is the key which was used in order to encrypt the plain text so as to receive such a ciphertext. He will be simply gaining, or he will be simply receiving that ciphertext which was made available through the network. When the ciphertext was traveling from sender side to the receiver side, simply he got it. Okay, from that simple knowledge of that ciphertext, he has to somehow find out what the original message is, that is what the plain text is. He is not having any information other than the ciphertext, that is he is not having any information regarding the key or anything else. Simply have to do certain type of task or certain type of operation to simply gain the access of plain text. So actually this is a very common type of attack, and it is easier to defend. You can defend, or you can do certain operations, or you can do certain tasks in order to simply defend from this attack. Okay, it is easier to withstand. Okay, so the second type of cryptanalytic attack is non-plain text attack. So what is happening here is that the attacker himself is having some additional sort of information rather than what is told in the first step. In the first step, that is in ciphertext only attacker, what was there? The attacker did not have any other information other than the ciphertext what was made available through the network. The ciphertext, when it was traveling from the sender side to the receiver side, that ciphertext information only is gained by the attacker. He is not having any other information other than the details of the ciphertext. So then the second type, what is happening is that the attacker is having some additional sort of information regarding this data and all. That is, he is having with him certain pairs of plain text and ciphertext. Certain pairs of plain text ciphertext, that is, certain words will be there with him, certain original messages or certain plain text will be there with him, and the corresponding ciphertext also will be there with him. Likewise, a table or a list of certain plain text and ciphertext pair will be there with him. So from that corresponding table, or from the information which is provided in that table, he will be somehow trying to retrieve the corresponding ciphertext back to the plain text. For example, okay, if he is having a list, if he is having the list which consists of these two words which I have given as in the form of example. Okay, so here the original message, that is, for example, come is the plain text. Okay, come is a plain text, and in his table, okay, I told you he is already having some information regarding some pair of plain text ciphertext. Okay, so in his first plain text, he is having a word which is called as come. Okay, and it is simply converted into a ciphertext EMOC. Okay, I just reversed it, that's all. Okay, you can do it in another way also, but in this particular context I have simply reversed the letters of this particular plain text. So the ciphertext is EMOC, and on the other hand the second plain text is today, and it is simply converted into added, that is, simply I have reversed the letters of the word today. Okay, so I'm having this particular two pairs, that is, come, if it is come then it is EMOC, if it is today then it is added. So likewise he will be having several number of plain text ciphertext pair with him in his table. Okay, so simply what he will do is that as soon as he sees the ciphertext which whatever is passing through the network, he will be simply taking that, okay, and then he will be comparing that particular ciphertext with those plain text ciphertext pairs whatever is available with him in his table. Okay, then simply comparing each one of them, he will be simply trying to extract the plain text. Okay, he will be simply comparing the letters. Oh, wherever C comes, it is simply replaced by E. Wherever O comes, it is simply replaced by M. So what will happen when the corresponding ciphertext is simply retrieved back to the plain text? Likewise, he will be comparing and trying to extract the plain text. So the thing is that here also the attacker is not at all aware on what is the key, whatever is used by the sender to encrypt the message. Okay, so that is called as non-plain text attack. The attacker will be having some additional information with him regarding some plain text ciphertext pairs. Okay, the third one is chosen plain text attack. It is somewhat similar to the non-plain text attacks. The thing is that here he won't have any pair of plain text ciphertext data. Okay, simply he will be using his own plain text. Okay, he will be considering, or he will be taking into consideration his own ideas and concepts, that is his own plain text into consideration, and from that he will be simply trying to find the key. Okay, simply he will be adopting some concepts, or simply he will be finding out using some concepts in order to find out or extract the key, and then he will be trying to find out the final plain text. That is, he will be using his own concepts, or otherwise he will be employing his own concept of plain text in order to extract the key, and after finding out the key he will be simply trying to extract the complete message, that is the complete plain text. So that is what is called as chosen plain text attack. That is, he will be simply having some idea on what is the plain text, what might be the plain text whatever is created by the sender, and from his own idea he will be applying each one of them so as to extract the key, and from that key he will be trying to completely extract the whole plain text. Okay, so that is chosen plain text attack. So next one is chosen ciphertext attack. In this particular thing is that it is actually a combination of the previous two cryptanalytic attacks. So that is, it is actually the combination of non-plain text attack and ciphertext only attack. Okay, so the chosen ciphertext attack is a combination of the first two, that is ciphertext only attack and non-plain text attack. That is, he will be having information regarding the ciphertext whatever is passing through the network, and together with that he will be having certain pairs of plain text ciphertext pairs. With the help of all these information he will be somehow or other trying to extract the plain text. So that is what is explained in chosen ciphertext attack. So these are the various ways in which the attacker, whoever is standing outside the network, will be simply trying to attack the ciphertext so as to extract the plain text. So these are the various ways in which cryptanalysis can be defined. Cryptanalytic attacks can be defined. Cryptanalysis is actually the process in which a particular person tries to extract the plain text from the corresponding ciphertext without the information of the key. So we have to specifically note that particular phrase, that is without the information of key. He is not having any information about the key which was used by the sender in order to encrypt the message. So without any information about the key, he is going to retrieve or extract the plain text from the available ciphertext. That is a process which is coming under cryptanalysis. So what is cryptanalytic attacks? The attacks which is possible, okay, or the attacks which can be defined in terms of cryptanalysis is called as cryptanalytic attacks. So there are various categories of cryptanalytic attacks, and that is what which is explained here. So other than these four, there is another important attack which is called as brute force attack. So brute force attack is very quite simple. Quite simple means don't think is that this attack need not be completely cautious. We should not be cautious about this attack. In that particular aspect, I'm not saying that it is simple. The thing is that it is simple to be explained. Okay, for example, if a thief, okay, or otherwise if a forger or an attacker tries to unlock the door of a house, so the thing is that he already has got a bunch of keys. That is, he has already got a bunch of keys which consists of a total of 100 number of keys. Okay, already 100 number of keys are there in that particular bunch of keys. Okay, so the thing is that he doesn't know which particular key is required in order to unlock that particular door. Okay, so thing is that what he will do, he will be simply trying out each and every key. He will be doing a trial process. Okay, each and every key he will be trying out in order to unlock that particular door. Okay, so simply likewise, what is brute force attack? The attacker will be receive some sort of a collection of keys, so that each and every number of key he will be trying to use in order to unlock that particular message. Okay, so that is called as brute force attack. So as the number of keys is increased in that particular bunch of keys, the time taken by that particular attacker in order to unlock the message will also be increasing. That is, your data will be more secure. Okay, so the thing is that we are having some famous algorithms like DES and AES. Okay, DES means data encryption standard. It is a famous cryptographic algorithm. And on the other hand, advanced encryption standard, that is AES, this is also another famous cryptographic algorithm. Actually, in the case of DES, we are using a 56-bit key. Okay, the key is having only a size of 56 bits, but on the other hand, AES having a key which is used with a size of 128 bit. That is, AES is having a key of size of 128 bit. So the thing is that in case of DES, it is more prone to brute force attack because its key size is only 56 bit. But on the other hand, AES is using a key which is having a size of 128 bit, and hence